What's up guys, welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/MaliciousCompliance. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. This story's called, I Want My Sandwich. So this is a story I tell people when they tell me their horror stories and working in fast food. Names are throwaway. So while I was at university, I had a side job managing a team at a very popular sandwich branch. Myself, Joe, and Johnny would work the night shifts, 8 p.m. till 4 a.m., and I would work Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights as this shop was opposite the only nightclub in town. Very upper-class city during the day, but very trashy nightlife. It would get so busy after 2 a.m. with drunks that queues would be out the door and we would have to put away tables and chairs to block the toilets as people would either throw them at us or at each other or dash off to the toilets for a quickie with a stranger. This, however, happened at around 9 p.m. Nice and quiet time, nothing interesting usually happens during this time, and the owner of the restaurant would call in every half hour to see how the shop is doing because he's worried about losing money by requiring 3 whole employees to prepare for the night rush. A group of around 15 girls run in, look underage, all drunk, like really drunk. Cool. Serve them, get rid of them. Happens occasionally, but we still got some time before the mass comes. One of the larger girls collapses against the wall on the floor, looks passed out. Her friends don't take any notice, but we are all first aid trained. I get Joe to check on her, she waves him off, shouts at him, fine, back to work. 10 minutes later, the smell. Oh Lord, the smell. The store is actually pretty busy, but after realizing what happened, we had to stop serving and kick everybody out of the store because of the health hazard I was about to witness. We kick out her friends, and she's still asleep. Myself and John lift the woman to a safe location while Joe calls an ambulance in case there is anything wrong. The smell gets worse as we lift her. I felt sick. I turned to look back and I saw the largest, wettest pile of feces I had ever seen in the shape of her behind with a very distinct line in the middle representing what was most likely a G-string or thong. Be mindful that this girl looks like she's 15. None of us wanted to go anywhere near it, but a joint effort between the 3 of us had it cleaned up within minutes. I wasn't going to risk anything, so I left the ventilators on full blast and prepared to lock up for the rest of the night. Incoming phone call. It basically went down as, how's the store? We had an incident, so we had to close. What? Under no circumstance are you to close early. Yes, but no buts. Open back up immediately or I'll fire all 3 of you. We throw away any perishable that wasn't covered. We didn't have a lot out, but still, not risking anything else that could lose me my oh-so-precious part-time job. We then proceed to take a 30-minute break to let the store ventilate and have the smell go. Like it would. Huge group of lads comes to the store while we're outside and starts a fight with Joe because we're closed. I tell the lad what happened and why we were closed, but he was having none of it. Said he knew the store and was a law student and would have me sued for false closure. Enlighten me. I can't get sued for something like this, can I? He calls the owner, and surely enough, I immediately get a call back. Open the store now or I'll fire you on the spot. I tell him to wait up a couple of seconds while I deal with the customer. I tell Joe to start recording the call. Sorry, I didn't catch what you previously said. Could you repeat? Open the store or you're fired! I repeat our previous conversation explaining why I had closed the store and that it was a critical food hazard until it was cleaned properly. Most heavy-duty cleaning materials that could have appropriately cleaned up the mess were locked away by the owner until morning because we wouldn't have time. I don't think you understand what I said, OP. Open the store. All right, will do, boss. So I continue to open the store, customers start flooding in, I get all fresh ingredients out to start rushing through the humongous line we were amassing. A lot of customers are turning their noses once they walk in, but like I said, trashy. These people are hungry. They line up anyway. Some customers are throwing up from the smell. It really was that bad. asked me what was up. I told them that if I were to close, I lost my job. Police show up and close up shop for us. Thank God. I was waiting for something like this to happen. We didn't even have to clean up. We just got told to go home and they would sort it with the owner tomorrow because the city had a reputation to uphold. I ended up getting fired because I closed the store. But instead of just getting fired, I ended up taking it to court for unfair dismissal and got a month's payout, and the owner had an emergency health inspection the morning after. The guy lost his branch. He works as a security guard at a grocery store now, working for the security guard he previously hired to look after us after 1 a.m. Pretty sure he ended up losing his house and car too. Screw that guy. Okay, I'm more concerned about how the hell someone's turds stink up a store that bad to the point where minutes after people are throwing up, just multiple people throwing up in the same place. What? Am I the only one that kind of finds this ridiculously funny? Just imagine this teenage girl leaving a bunch of poo all over the ground, and they clean up said poo, and they leave said poo with ventilators all around it, only for them to come back and people are vomiting just from exposure. What? That's incredibly embarrassing too. I feel bad for that girl. Ugh. This story's called Middle School Mischief. English is my first language, but I have some disabilities in learning, so my punctuation grammar isn't great. Lots of run-on sentences, so please be nice. Also mobile, so sorry. I don't know if this counts, but this was kind of a team effort between me and my BFF when I was in middle school. So when I was 12, my best friend and I started being allowed to go to the mall by ourselves. I had a cell phone, and as long as we stayed together, it was fine. My BFF had a super strict mother who was way too obsessed with making her a mini adult while letting her other siblings do pretty much whatever they wanted. Well, this was back in the early 2000s, where Hot Topic was still dark and scary, but was one of the few places to get anime merchandise. This started a few weeks before my BFF's birthday, and my mom had dropped us off so I could get an idea of what to get BFF for her birthday. So we were walking around Hot Topic and looking at the Naruto stuff when I see a graphic t-shirt with her favorite character on it. Hey, BFF, look, you should get this. Oh, I'm not allowed to have graphic t-shirts. I was confused. It was just a t-shirt. It didn't have anything bad on it like some of those political ones. It was just a ninja in a silly pose. He didn't even have weapons. Why aren't you allowed to have t-shirts? Mom says I have to always dress like I would for work, and graphic t-shirts aren't appropriate. I really don't like my friend's mom, and honestly, that was dumb, because we were 12. No one is looking for a 12-year-old to manage their car dealership. We go around the mall the rest of the day, and every time she sees these shirts with our favorite characters on them, I can tell BFF wants them but can't buy them. At one point, I convinced her to text her mom and ask about a cute tank top she wanted with Pikachu on it, and told her she could wear it for gym. Nope. Big mistake. Her mom flipped. She showed me the texts and, well, they weren't nice. I was furious, and then came the fatal text. BFF, I forbid you to buy those shirts. You'll look like a slob like OP. Oh, now it was on. So we went home and I was still stewing. We never told BFF's mom that I saw that message, and I didn't dare tell my mom, but I thought about my dad and thought about all the things he has done to tick people off who are rude to him like that with malicious compliance and mischief. Bing! I then remembered the keywords in the text. When it came for me to buy a present for my friends, I bought her all of those shirts that we had seen and a few more I knew she would love and wrapped them in a gift box. Fast forward to the party. BFF is opening her gift and gets to mine. She opens the box and sees all of the shirts and her eyes go wide. Instantly, her mom is ticked. I can see it through her forced smile because I know her mom is far too polite to deny her the gift. I also knew just what to say to get her to not chuck them in the trash immediately after the party. My mom and I thought they were adorable, and now we match. Now, she knew my mom would expect to see them as well. Later, when we were away from her mom, we laughed a bit about it and she asked why I got them. I reminded her that she was forbidden to buy the shirts, not me. For years afterwards, this was our system for getting around her rules. To avoid this getting any longer, here is a quick list of other issues we got around in a similar way, and yes, I either heard her mom say these things or read them through text. You have too many books, you can't buy more. I bought her a gift card to a giant bookshop that no longer exists. You can't buy comic books, they'll rot your brain. Bought her about $50 worth of comics. Dungeons and Dragons is for Satan worshippers, don't you dare buy those books. Cool. Bought her the handbook, a set of dice, and some minis. So yeah, her mom would get super irritated with me, but she also still liked me. I think she likes me, but because she was super religious, didn't like how I was being raised. And she liked me because I was a good friend, and she thought I was innocent in all her lectures about this stuff. I would never buy her anything that was actually bad, just things that were harmless and made her happy. My dad might have also helped in this as well by buying us our first convention tickets when he heard her mom say those conventions were for freaks and overweight nerds, which he took as a jab at me. I'm not super skinny, but not fat either. And also helped us out with our costumes together for the convention because her mom refused. So yeah, it's not that exciting, but I guess I still laugh a little. You know what, that's an adorable story, and I'm pretty sure you really made her childhood a lot better. I know I would have loved to have a friend like you when I was a kid. Honestly, stuff like that really makes you a good friend. Like, imagine having a friend that buys you stuff for your birthday. Yes, that was a cry for friendship. This story's called, Don't Break the Rules and Then Insist Your Staff Enforce Them. Whilst I was at university, I worked in our students' hall, basically a 2-story bar that was subsidized by the government. Because of the subsidy, it was the cheapest place in town, so we would get a couple of locals to come in. To prevent this, we were supposed to check if everyone had a student ID, but no one minded as the locals were usually polite and handled their booze better than most students. My manager, who was a local himself, would encourage locals to come and would either discourage ID checks or simply not inform new staff of the situation. He would often steal from the bar and would give free drinks to his mates. One night, he had a bunch of his buddies in town come in, have a drinking session at the bar's expense, paid for maybe 1 and 5 drinks, till way past closing and beyond our license. This resulted in the police being called for a noise complaint and his boss, Hall's head, finding out. To cover his ass, he claimed that the group were locals that we, the bar staff, had happily allowed to stay and then fudged the accounting for the night to make up for the free drinks. Because of this, he himself demanded we check every student's ID, and the head took away some of our employee perks. The Sunday after this all went down, the pool tournament guys come in. These guys rotate which bar they go to every week between a list of maybe 6 that have enough pool tables and lounge space. I personally have served them half a dozen times. They make their way over to the bar, and the first guy is well into his 40s. Hey man, before I serve you, I have to see your student ID. He chuckled and said something along the lines of, "Do I look like a student?" and proceeded to order. Look, I'm sorry, but I've been told that if you haven't got a student ID, I can't serve you. He started to realize I wasn't just messing with him and looked to the other members of staff, who reiterated the point. Are you serious? We've been coming here for years. Yeah, sorry. Manager is cracking down on the only students rule. I can grab my supervisor for you if you want. My supervisor was also a student and explained the situation, said he was sorry for the inconvenience and that if they had any complaints to call the head, my manager's boss, and even gave out a couple of his cards that were in the office. The pool guys left, which meant no one was really in the building, so we ended up closing early. Next morning, I awoke to my manager screaming down the phone at me, but it was my day off, so I hung up and didn't go to work, as a customer, till past noon. When I did, my coworkers couldn't wait to tell me what had happened. My manager had come in and had a shouting match with my supervisor in front of everyone grabbing a morning coffee. The head had indeed received some complaints and scheduled a meeting with the manager that morning. Not wanting to face it alone, he took my supervisor with him. I imagine intending to throw him under the bus as much as possible. The head was pissed, A, because all these 40-something men had called to complain on his personal number on a Sunday, B, because these 40-something men, by their own admission, had been coming for years at the invite of the manager, whom they knew well. My manager tried to save face and claim they were associated with the university, that they were in fact lecturers, that it was the bar staff's failing to check for student ID all this time, and then turned on my supervisor saying he'd given them a bad reputation, cost them money by turning them away, and closing early, as well as laying bare every other mistake he had ever made. My supervisor explained that it was never explained to staff that customers had to be students, as the manager actively encouraged locals to come in, that even lecturers get a form of student ID, and explained to the head about the manager's drinking with his mates and the dodgy accounting he'd do. This led to the CCTV being checked when the head saw that it was, in fact, the manager and his mates, that the bar staff rarely put anything through the tills at his request, suspended him on the spot. He then said the accounts would need to be audited and that he would likely be terminated and even prosecuted. After a surreal couple of weeks, we got our perks back, they hired a new manager, and eventually they installed locks on the doors that could only be opened with a student ID. No idea what happened to the old manager, but by no means a loss. Okay, that manager sounds incredibly slimy and ratty and like a snake, and a number of other words you might describe someone that nasty, slimy, and ratty and snaky. But yes, it's probably never a good idea to abuse your power, however, that won't stop anybody from doing it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.